Hello, Olgera, Nisam Bulavinaka, glad you could join us for the Pacific Way. For years, beach mining has exposed the communities on South Tarawa in Kiribati to even greater risks from rising sea levels and the impacts of climate change. In response, the Kiribati government has now come up with an innovative solution that it hopes will put an end to the practice that has undermined and threatened the country's vulnerable coastline for decades. Let's find out more. For decades, the widespread practice of beach mining has been weakening the fragile shoreline of South Tarawa, the most populated atoll in the small island nation of Kiribati. This practice has been putting vulnerable communities to even greater risk from the increasing impacts of climate change and rising sea levels. To counter this problem, the government of Kiribati has now launched a new state-owned enterprise to dredge much-needed building aggregate from the floor of the South Tarawa Lagoon. With support from the European Union and the Secretariat of the Pacific Community, the new state-owned Marawa Aggregates Company will use a purpose-built dredge vessel to dredge aggregates from the lagoon before it is processed and sold to customers. The new dredge vessel, the MV Marawa, has a shallow draft for lagoon work and can carry a total payload of 300 tons. The government hopes this innovative, market-driven enterprise could soon spell the end of a practice that has been literally undermining its vulnerable coastline.
Well, it's a serious attempt at trying to protecting our islands. Already we are seriously challenged with the climate change impacts. We have seen evidence of that in the first few months of this year. To mine the shoreline would expose us unduly. And so, yes, it is an example. It is a way of demonstrating, and it's not a matter of trying to demonstrate to the world, but I think it's a matter of necessity that we must do this because we have to do it.
Beach aggregate is a combination of sand, gravel, pebbles and stones that has been commonly used for making concrete, road construction and building developments. Faced with a growing demand for building aggregates, the government approached the SPC's Applied Geoscience and Technology Division for advice on how it could source more sustainable supplies of sand and gravel from the lagoon floor.
I think it's the only option that we have, given the fact that we don't have a lot of material from which to supply our building requirements. And if we were to mine too much from the strip of land, the very thin strips of land that we already have, we would have huge problems.
SPC scientists used sophisticated computer models to determine if aggregates could be dredged from the lagoon in an environmentally and economically sustainable way. Detailed studies found that the lagoon contained abundant aggregate deposits that can be safely exploited at low cost for the next 50 to 70 years. However, before any dredging could begin, project engineers had to find a way to avoid the many dangerous remnants of World War II that still littered the lagoon floor. In 1943, the United States dropped 2,500 tons of munitions to support its amphibious landings during the infamous Battle of Tarawa. It is still highly likely that much of this material still contains a large number of unexploded devices.
Out of this survey, I think there's probably about 10 wrecks. A lot of the ones I'm finding are in about 12 meters of water. I think the shallowest I've seen is about 6 meters. You don't want to be pulling up 500-pound bombs or something like that hasn't gone off either.
The SPC's detailed surveys help to locate areas where the dredge can safely operate. This work also helped to greatly improve the charts and maps of the seafloor needed to enable safe passage for all cargo and transport vessels moving in and out of South Tarawa. For decades, beach mining has provided an important source of income for many families in South Tarawa.
Nakamona tayo timeo wo tipirin dia teru anataban. Masinga yan bugin wo.
Well, I think here we have to balance income in the short term as well as survivability in the long term. Government, of course, will have to will face the challenge of providing the communities, which have thus far been depending on destroying the shoreline in order to get their living. As a government, we will continue to look for opportunities, income generating opportunities. Already we are seeing growth in the economy. I think that is happening. So at a larger level, at larger scale, at a different level, government would have to consider generating other economic activities in order to offer alternatives for people. But the current form of beach mining in order to secure income is just not something that we should continue.
The Asin Marawa Aggregates Company has already generated new jobs needed for collecting, processing and selling building material to its customers.
We know that employment in Kiribati is at a premium, as it is in many island countries, and the last thing we want to do is take away the livelihoods of others. So we will be working in partnership with them for solutions. For example, maybe the products we bring out of the deeper sea are not everything. Maybe we still need a little bit of beach mining. Maybe not to the same extent as before, but we might need a little bit to blend with the products we bring in. Or maybe we harness the skills that they have got in working with our company, or maybe offshoots from our company. The last thing we want to do is take away jobs. We're here to generate jobs.
Both small and large-scale customers are already keen to buy building material from the Asin Marawa Aggregates Company.
Titano ari reke mente takamana de Asin Marawa erang skiroi erang dori ibugin wakinante takatete yo ibugin karawan na yamakuri erang tamero the quality skiroi kai itaku ba erang kura tamero erang dawat skiroi na yanare ya kwa ke na titano me tipike ya te tauroi ari me ke yare to bunia te tawa na ke me yare ya ki urwa de aron tintia pe metera yaki uruaron tintia be taku ba de yang warang tabaro warang skiroi.
Makurita Sim works for Wishing Star, a Chinese-backed company that is building a large shopping mall in South Tarawa. She says she needs to have access to a regular supply of quality aggregates at reasonable prices.
Kanya ikakahaya. Are ayaki de kai bukin are atangira re bukin takatoka purik. Are kanga atangira re tanon na temera re tirik are anamangana ko nanay are kanga pun meitari na be.
Ita ko babun timetuan tatauroin te tano ati ata mare kai na no akili tai to wana metuana. Ngana timetu ayun tauroin tai na ko ngana ye ro kon tangiri ai ta ko nanya na ka timetua. Pusin ta kampano tangira gina na be iro yameta. Akia kai na no
Ultimately, the success of the new aggregates business will depend on its ability to meet the needs of its customers.
If this project receives subsidies or donor support, it has failed in the long run. The objective of this project, which is very exciting, is to go from an aid base, which is recognized a problem and a development issue, but to move it into a self-sustaining company or entity. If this company fails to make a profit, if it fails to be commercial, then we have failed in terms of the project.
It is hoped that the company will soon be able to provide an effective delivery service to transport aggregate products around the entire atoll.
Ay na yai pio ana ri na ki me kai ya takari kanga nang kubura. Ay na ri kineri kanga tirari ninti tanwari sena. Ada kanga ti ari sisaki tari ari ngai ari kosito wana. Timina ya perak ne na konyam ka. Ay na kunikira kyani roya nang sikiro ti sevesan.
In future, Kiribati's new aggregate company also has plans to supply environmentally safe aggregates to nearby Pacific islands. The director of SBC's Applied Geoscience and Technology Division also believes this new dredging technology could even help South Tarawa to shore up its fragile coastal defenses.
We know that the building of islands and protection of islands happens all around the world, in China, Korea, Middle East, Europe. So why not here? And we could be part of that game change for protecting not only Kiribati but all the other atoll islands in the Pacific, like Tuvalu, Marshall Islands, and Tokelau.
Welcome back. The Pacific Youth Council, or PYC, is a regional non-government organization based in Fiji. Established in 1996, it acts as an umbrella body for national youth councils across the Pacific. Let's find out how the PYC is empowering the Pacific's young generation to become active citizens and leaders in their local communities, nation, and region.
The Pacific is a rich melting pot of cultural heritage and diversity. The small island nations that inhabit the world's largest ocean are home to over 10 million people, a large portion of which are youth. Young people play a vital role in their local communities, respective nations, and the region as a whole. They possess the immense potential to drive productivity and development. Today's youth are tomorrow's leaders.
What motivated me to be part of the Youth Council in Solomon Island, to help other young people, especially the youth at risk or the marginalized young people. Because first I was one of those young people doing drugs, doing criminal activities. And the Duke of Edinburgh Award program, that is the program that I got into and joined the program, and I feel that the program create a space for young people to recognize their potential and sharing their ideas.
Like Harry, most youth face many challenges on the path to recognizing their full potential. Overcoming some of these obstacles, however, is often difficult without support from society. Fostering an environment where youth can become active citizens and leaders is one of the main objectives of the Pacific Youth Council, PYC.
The Pacific Youth Council was set up in 1996 by, at that time, 9 active national youth councils that wanted to have their voice and the issues of young people be heard at a regional level. At the moment, we have 10 countries in the region that are members of the Pacific Youth Council, which is Nauru, Niue, Tuvalu, Tonga, the Solomon Islands, Vanuatu. Cook Islands, Palau, the Republic of the Marshall Islands, and the Federated States of Micronesia. Now, that doesn't represent the 22 member island countries and territories, but that's not to say that we don't address the issues of young people, because we find in the Pacific, the issues are cross-cutting.
HIV is it's sort of a broad topic, but it's actually the causes, the root causes. We need to look, we need to dig deeper into the root cause, and when dealing with that, we tend to see that caused by sex workers, drug abuse, drug uses, and these people they are not just people who live in the streets. They're actually part of communities, and communities, there is a church that looks after communities. So it is important for churches to know that these things happen within their boundaries.
Earlier this year we had a high number of cases of youth suicide, and also the high number of STI numbers amongst the age group from 13 years up to 19, and it's forever increasing. And one of our main worries for that is that we may not have a HIV case tested in the country, but that's one of the avenues it could get into our country. And also the other challenge we see is the alcohol and drug use.
Mass unemployment rate of youth is increasing. Climate change also, with regards to food security. Not only food security, but we are as the future leaders, we have to do something.
The problem was we have no outlet. We are a hyper bunch. We have creative ideas. We're artistic. It's just the government or our society doesn't provide us the outlet. So I guess that's one or two major issues.
Capacity building, advocacy and networking have been identified as some of the key focus areas by the youth-led PYC. Through participation in various regional forums and workshops, Pacific youth are able to cultivate the skills needed to better share experiences, learn from each other, and raise a collective voice on how to best tackle issues that affect them.
Everything has to be evidence-based, and I'm quite sure you have heard enough today of what we have done through the Pacific Council and some of our major achievements. It is because for the help of the donors. I have to just to let them know that the importance of the support, because it's not like some other organization. We already have a structure set up. We have an office set up. We have this program. We want you to support a program, but this is capacity building provided for the young people. The young people do not have the capacity to be a secretary. They don't have the capacity to be a manager and on all the administrations. Those are a learning process. We're giving them a whole lot of new experience to become leader themselves and be active in their own country.
We've been able to engage in hard spaces with the Pacific Islands Forum Leaders Meeting in Auckland in 2011, being part of some high-level regional meetings that are organized by development partners, beginning to recognize the importance of engaging with young people, and so looking to the Pacific Youth Council as a platform that will provide the voices of young people.
For this afternoon session, I was wanting to get hopefully some discussion with you around your thoughts of the Pacific Youth Council as an organization and as a network, and how Pacific Youth Council has changed over the years.
There's genuine engagement with young people, and young people are saying anything to do with young people. We would like to be at not only at the implementation stages, but at the design stage, from the beginning, all the way to the end, so that there's ownership.
The Pacific Youth Council is kind of like encouraging young people, imaging young leaders to come up and do capacity building, to go back to their country and implement what they have learned through their regional trips especially the one we come here in Suva.
So having a council is getting reps from the other groups, brainstorming what they do and how it can help nationally to our country. So it's good to have a whole collective of young people from other different groups. Even though we don't see eye to eye, but we have different perspectives on issues, and also learning from them and what things we can do and trying to solve these situations.
I believe we can make a difference as a group. You know, one individual making his voice or her voice heard, it doesn't have much impact. But if we have youth, you know, forming a group, you know, it will have much impact, and it will have the attention of church leaders and also politicians, governments. So yes, they do have a great impact if we work in groups.
We hope you enjoyed tonight's stories. We leave you now with a performance by the very entertaining Chuki dancers from Australia. But first, if you'd like to know more about the show or any of our stories, do check us out on Facebook and on YouTube. Until next time, kone nom, bye bye.